All right. Well, again, welcome everybody to this webinar about the Business Analytics Flex program at the University of Texas at Dallas. We're very glad that you were able to join us this morning, afternoon, evening, and whatever place, whatever time zone that you're joining us from. We are very glad that you're here. The agenda for this next 1 hour is very straightforward and simple. We'll take a few minutes to talk about the program. We'll talk about the different parts of the program, aspects of the program, and how you can really apply. And then we'll straight away jump into your questions. All the participants will be muted so that we can make sure that we don't have any audio feedback or anything that can disturb the webinar. However, please use the chat function to ask any questions that you may have. Put them in the chat and we'll make sure that we go through all the questions in the next hour. Now, some of you may have joined us in an earlier webinar. Some of you may be admitted. So why don't we take a moment and just kind of use the chat to indicate where we are joining this webinar from? What part of the world, just to get a sense of the audience here. And please use the chat feature to let us know. Excellent. We have Mumbai, Pakistan, India, Gurugram, Plano. Okay, Hyderabad, Peru. Excellent. Very good. Well, thank you for sharing that, folks. Okay. Before we talk about business analytics at UT Dallas, I really wanted to spend a few minutes to talk about why you really need this degree or what's the need. I mean, aren't there enough degrees that may be covering the concepts that are being taught here? Or why the world wants to move in the direction of analytics. These days, every organization, irrespective of the size, talks about the importance of data. And sometimes the size or the strength of an organization in the market is not dependent on how big they are in terms of their employee base or the customers that they are serving, but it is about how they're using something like data to provision their products and services. Now, to really answer this question, well, we'll have to go back a few decades when the focus was using applications for business. And if we know one thing about software applications, the number one need for any application is to manage data. So when we are talking about a layer of data and we are generating and we are processing a lot of data, the question after a few decades was, what do we do with all this data? And that's where the need for analytics started coming up, because people now figured out that, yes, there is solid historical factual data available to them that they can use to maybe create models, run models, and figure out what their successes were, what their failures were, just so that they don't repeat things that didn't bring any value. So over a course of time, that's how the industry gravitated towards analytics, and the need was somehow recognized. Now, whenever there's a need in the industry, the first thing that they will do is they'll try to internally train their folks to address that new need. However, the speed at which the need was growing and the speed at which people were getting trained was two different things. And whenever that sort of thing happens, where the training is slower than the pace at which the need is growing, the industry always turns towards academia. Now, we started the business analytics program in 2014, and in fact, the first business analytics program in the US came only in 2007. So it's not a very old field. It's been there for just about 15 years as a program. But whether it is healthcare, whether it is real estate, whether it is tech or financial sectors, it doesn't matter who it is. They all need some kind of data and data analytics around it. Another good thing is that there is a dearth of qualified professionals. Dearth of qualified professionals who can really wrangle data well. who can really understand the language of data. And that's where people like you all come. So people who are seeking a degree right now are still kind of considered to be on the early side of the curve when it comes to being an analytics practitioner. Now, another question that might come to you is, well, you know what, I can take a few courses and just blend it with any other thing that's out there. Here is my take on that. Analytics is a very pointed skill set. So just by taking a couple of courses in analytics will not give you the depth that is needed. You will feel shortchanged and you will feel as if you don't really have the skills. And that is the reason why we have analytics as a separate program, because there is a lot that has to be, you know, taught. There's a lot that needs to be absorbed before you can become somebody who is, really working as an independent contractor. For us at UT Dallas, there are three themes that we look at: flexibility, engagement, and our focus on outcomes. It is flexible because you can decide how many courses you want to take, how long you want your degree to be. This degree can be finished in 9 months. The max is 72 months, which is 6 years. Most of our students take 1.5 to 2 years, but you decide how you want to do that. In what fashion you want to take your courses. Do you want to take course A first or do you want to take course B first? You decide, because it's you who's trying to build that skill set for yourself. Engagement. Now, irrespective of the fact that every course has a lot of opportunities to engage with your peers, through group projects, through a lot of things that you do within the class. But we are a firm believer that the real learning happens outside of the class as well. So bringing in the industry into your classes or in the school so that they can engage with you through the student organizations, competitions, conferences, presentations. There are tons of things in which we will engage you. Networking events, mentoring events. I mean, we have a program in the MSBA program where you get mentored by a CXO. It could be a CEO, CIO, CTO, Chief Revenue Officer, CFO, whosoever it is, but they will be your mentor for the entire semester. So again, there's a lot of engagement that is not only expected, but opportunities are provided so that you can build yourself very well. And then finally, we are very focused on outcomes. Even though we have all these programs that we run, we really want to make sure that these programs are getting you the value that you need. And they are just not some busy work that we are doing. So we very closely look at those things. We very closely look at the curriculum. We very closely look at your feedback, everything to make sure that we are continuously improving the program to serve you better. Now this is a 36 credit program. It's STEM designated. Half of the program is core, and I will quickly show you the catalog in a few minutes. Half of the program is core classes, half of the program is electives. Uh, we accept admits in fall, which is our biggest class, then spring, which is in January, and then summer as well. So a small group also comes in summer. But the 10 tracks that you see out there: accounting, cybersecurity, data engineering, data science, decision operation, financial, healthcare, marketing, social media, and enterprise systems, all of them have courses, at least 5 to 6 courses from which you can pick up your electives. So you decide, as I said before, flexibility is offered in the program. It's up to you how you want to do this. Another reason why we are the largest in the country. And that actually plays to our advantage in a lot of ways. Number one, I just showed you that there are 10 tracks. These 10 tracks are about 75 courses. You have to pick 6 out of 75. There's no other university that can provide you these many number of options. Number one thing. So, and that is possible because we are large. If we were a small program, we wouldn't have that ability, but our large numbers help us do that. The second thing is when companies come and they say, well, I've got 20 open positions. They don't have to go to 10 universities to get those 20 people. They can get it right here with us. For the last several weeks, we've had companies that have come and they've exclusively come for MSBA students so that they can hire. Because the pool is large, they're able to meet a variety of candidates that they want to pick up. and they find their candidates and they move on. So that also helps. The average starting salary, irrespective of the experience that you come in with into the program, is 100K. The top end is always in the range of 250, 260, 280, 300K. We have partnership with dozens of companies. And when I say partnerships, these companies are not just people that we know over the email. These people, these companies, and especially, it's not just some random person in those companies that we work with. We work with some of the top decision makers, or they could be people in the senior leadership of the company. These partnerships are built in a way that they are regularly working with us. They are coming to the school every now and then. They are constantly in touch with us as to what they need. They are working on projects with us. They're sponsoring our competitions. They are raising money for scholarships. I mean, they are working with us to make sure that they support our students, and we in turn support them as well. High return on investment. Why I say that? Because if you, let's say you take an educational loan for your entire degree, the institutions will give you 7 to 12 years to return the loan. Our students are able to do it in about 2 to 3 years on an average. And the reason why they're able to do that is because they're able to make that kind of money. Now you might think that, okay, they're paying off so quickly, so they must be really surviving on fumes. No, it's not. They're living a comfortable life. They're able to support their family if they have to. And on top of it, they're able to pay off their education loan as well. In fact, UT Dallas is ranked #1 in the state of Texas in terms of return on investment. But business analytics program is right there on the top when it comes to what are the top programs where people get that return on investment. A lot of the companies out there that provide loans to students, and especially international students, they recognize our program as the top program when it comes to the kind of money that students make. And that's why they're able to very comfortably support our students with education loans, because they know once you have a degree from this program, you will definitely have a great career out there. Almost 600 internships were pursued in the last year, and the average pay is about $30 an hour for these internships, which has significantly grown in the last year. Last couple of years, we used to see an average of 24, but it has now grown to 30 an hour. And this is for internships. This is not for your full times. And it's kind of in line with what we are seeing with the full-time offers that our students are getting. So here is the simple formula. In most of the cases, the ratio between an internship and a full-time offer is 1:2. You're earning $1 as an intern, you earn 2 for the same thing as a full-timer. And we see that ratio here. There are 3 formats that we have in the business analytics program. The Flex program is our state-funded program, which has all the 10 tracks. It is face-to-face. 85% of the classes are face-to-face, 15% are online, self-paced and state-funded. What state-funded means? As your number of credits increase in a semester, your per credit hour rate goes down. If you get a Dean's Excellence Scholarship, which is $1,000, you end up paying the in-state tuition rate, which is like a 50% reduction on your tuition. If you become a TA in the program, you get health insurance, you get the ability to pay in-state tuition rates. We also have cohort, which is made out of 2 tracks out of the 10, which is data science and accounting analytics. Most of the classes are face-to-face again, and a few of them are online. It's again self-paced. The difference between Flex and cohort, apart from the tracks, is that most of the students in the cohort will end up taking the same classes together. The online program is another option where we have the data science and data engineering track, and the classes are 100% online. GRE and GMAT waivers are available. That's one of the things that we need. However, if you're seeking a scholarship, we will need a GRE or GMAT score. What are the application requirements? So the link that is listed here has all the details about what we need, but it's your GRE GMAT. Let's say you want a waiver. Once you apply, you can email jsomgradvising@utdallas.edu. The email is listed on the screen, and they can put your name for a consideration for a waiver. They will look at your undergraduate degree and they'll make a decision whether you should get that waiver or not. Transcripts, unofficial ones are okay, scanned ones for the decision, but once you're admitted, you'll have to send us your original, not original, but official attested copies. Your resume is needed, 3 letters of recommendation, out of which at least one should be from a professional. Now, this professional reference need not be the person that worked with you, but has to be somebody who's working in the industry. And a personal objective statement, which talks about why business analytics and how it factors into your future. We don't give out application fee waivers unless you are either a current student or an alum of UT Dallas. Scholarships are available for fall 22. May 1st, which is this Sunday, is the deadline. We need your scholarship application, and we should also have your official GRE or GMAT scores reported to us. It should have reached UT Dallas by May 1st. TA-ships are not offered in the first semester. However, while you're in your first semester, you can apply for the TA-ship in your second semester, because we want to make sure that you have taken the classes that we will assign you as a TA for, and plus you have a UTD GPA. Having spoken about the scholarships, the worst case scenario that if you don't get a scholarship, it's not the end of the world. Some of our very good students don't come in with a scholarship, but as a continuing student, you can always apply the next fall for a scholarship and they get that. It is possible for you to start your program without a scholarship in the first semester, but then have some kind of support in every semester. Now, there was a financial planning webinar that we did a few months ago, and we'll put that link into the chat. But that webinar talks about every possible scenario that you can see or persona that you can see as a student. And that will help you kind of look at your, the different options that you have to fund. To be very honest, the simple answer about funding is very easy and possible. There are lots of options out there to help you and support you. So don't worry worst case, if you don't get a scholarship, it's not the end of the world. There are a lot of great people who have pursued this degree without a scholarship, but they have gone on to do great internships and finally got into high-paying jobs that help them financially as well. A quick roundup: had about 360 employers, 500 internships last year. Despite the pandemic, we had these numbers. And if you can see just the split of the different industries in which our students went, that is huge. And that's important for us because at the end of the day, that tells you that how business analytics is relevant to potentially every possible industry. I don't think so that there is any industry that cannot use an analytics professional. And by the way, analytics versus analyst. A business analyst is very different from an analytics professional. Still the year of the pandemic, but we had most of our students go to most of the different states out there. Generally, prior to COVID, we would see the entire map filled out, but because there were a lot of remote internships, we didn't see a few of the states kind of covered there. The average last summer was 26. This particular semester, which is spring of 22, we kind of got very close to $30 an hour. And last summer, our highest was about $105, which is a very significant number. 105 is close to, if you analyze it, it's about 210K as an intern. We have a lot of great stories that our students post on LinkedIn. And I would strongly recommend that go find this hashtag UTDMSBA, find out these internships, these events that our students are doing. Find them, read about them. These are unmoderated stories, and these are first-hand accounts. So if you have a dream company you want to work at, there's a high possibility that a student already from the MSBA program is there. And you can absolutely read their testimonials about what they've done. 360 is the number at UT Dallas when it comes to student organizations. About 70 of them are in the School of Management. And here are some of the organizations that our students are very actively involved in. SAP, Salesforce, Project Management, Women in Technology, Toastmasters, Cybersecurity, a flurry of analytics organizations, you name it, we have it. And these student organizations are a very important part of a JSON, a Jindal School student, because they help you carve out a very different facet of your personality that needs work. And where else to do it other than a student organization that is run by students? Everything that you do, even though you have a faculty advisor, 99% of the things that you do is your own ideas. And it's a safe way to test your leadership skills, decision making skills, and kind of leave a legacy as a student. Because at the end of the day, once you graduate, you'd want to have something that you look back at and you're like, well, that was something you established. All of these were ideas of students that resulted into organizations. But tomorrow, if you feel that there is a particular organization that you would like to start, and we see that every semester, you can start your own organization. Here is the part where I feel you get more value for the money that you're spending. We have bonus graduate certificate programs, not certification, but certificate programs, where these certificates are carved out of the degree program. I'll just take an example of the machine learning certificate. Now, machine learning certificate uh, has 4 courses. You take those 4 courses and you get an average 3.0 GPA. You get a separate graduate certificate from UT Dallas. Now, there are people who come into the university just to get these graduate certificates, and based on your residency, it can cost you anywhere between $12,000 to $20,000. But as a graduate student who's seeking a degree, an MSBA student, you don't pay that additional $20,000. For you, it is free. Why? Because the same course for which you're paying once as part of your degree program gives you credit towards another certificate. So that really is a way for you to kind of expand on the value of the money that you're spending. A lot of our students get these certificates even before they get the degree. So what do? They use this for their future internships, their jobs, wherever they are. They talk about this, and you can get these certificates in 2 semesters. The courses are designed in a way that these can be finished in 2 semesters. So it's a great way to maximize on the value. And of course, you will have to apply separately for them. But once you're a current student, you don't pay the application fee, and the application procedure is very straightforward. It literally takes 5 to 10 minutes to apply for these. But here are our email addresses. This is Leventhal and myself, our emails and our direct phone numbers. And I'm sure that a lot of you have already interacted with us in some shape or form. We also have a very vibrant Telegram channel that you can use to connect with us. And I'm going to share that in a second. But before that, I do that, I'm going to talk about our catalog quickly and then jump into the questions. And post this link to the Telegram right here. OK. So our core courses, 6 core courses. Why? Because if you really want to be that independent contributor in an organization and work with a lot of confidence in an analytics role, you definitely need it. Need this core. And this is such a solid foundation that it doesn't matter how convoluted the demands of your job is, you will be very comfortable in doing stuff. Now, the 3 questions that anybody would ask in an organization is what happened, what will happen, and what do you recommend? What happened is covered in advanced stats. What will happen? Predictive analytics. What do you recommend? Prescriptive analytics. On a time series, how do you do an analysis? You're taught that in the applied econometrics and time series. And of course, because it's a data centric program, there's a database course, also a foundational course on business analytics where you learn about different models using RSAS. And then for each of the track, as I said before, there are at least 5 to 7 courses, at least. Some of them have even 10 courses in one track. And you have to just pick six courses out of these tracks. Now, you don't have to finish one full track. It's up to you. You want to take all your 6 electives from one track, or you want to take it from multiple tracks, you do it yourself. But The breadth of the program is such that it gives you a lot of options to take care of this. Okay. Let's get to the questions here.
You can start with Anugya at 8:41.
Okay. Let's do that. Okay. Okay. Are there any UTD internal alumni referral programs available to MSBA students? Well, again, if you're talking about jobs and internships, there are tons of ways through which you can connect with the alumni. We in fact have a social network called Jindal Connect, on which we have a lot of alumni and current students who are part of it, more than 15,000 of them that you can reach out to, and they can definitely help you with referrals. But more than just referrals through the alumni, we give you first-hand opportunities to directly talk with the hiring managers, HRs who we bring into the program, into the school. So, I mean, it's a multi-pronged approach for you to get those referrals. Kushagra, can we show official transcript or do we have to send through courier? Well, Kushagra, the preferred method, and this is just my opinion, would be to mail it. The reason why I say that is that for any reason, if the university says this is not acceptable, which hasn't happened a lot, but we always prepare for the worst. You'll be in the US and you'll have to again do everything yourself. But there are people who what they do is if you have attested copies, they are in envelopes that are sealed and there are stamps on the seals. You can simply drop them here at UT Dallas. You can do that. Ilanshu, due to this hold, I'm not able to register for a prereq. So Nilanshu, even though there are classes that seem full right now, we are again working on the capacity to make sure that for whatever core classes you need in your first semester, they are available. And we will be adding more sections. We have always done it every semester where we have added more sections as we get close to the start of the semester. So don't worry about that. There won't be a situation where you need a course and it was full. Now, electives for that matter, we don't offer too many sections of the electives unless there is a need or a demand for that. And we do a lot of demand and capacity planning. And that's why initially when this registration is open, you might see that a lot of things get full. By the way, this is the first time that we have opened the registration this much in advance. Just before the pandemic, people used to start registering only after they were done with all their orientations and tests. That is close to the start of August. But now last year we started in June, and this time we even opened it all the way to April. So don't worry, there will be more options available. You can. Suman, is this? Yes, this is only for the flex students. Do we have data on companies that visit UTD for networking? Could we get a link for the same? Well, again, we don't publish explicit numbers as to who came for a networking event. Our social media, definitely, if you get on our social media, we definitely talk about all the events that are happening. And in case there's a company that visits, we have all of that there. But we definitely have data on the full-time roles people get into, the internships that they get into, what roles they're pursuing with what company. All that information is available on the Business Analytics website. Is the internship credits included in 36 credit hours? Now, that's a very good question, Anugya. We have what we call as a 0 credit internship. And if you just want to do that 0 credit, that doesn't add to 36, and that will satisfy the requirement. However, if a student wants to pursue beyond that 0 credit internship, like a multi-semester internship, we will let you take up to 3 credits. Those 3 credits will come out of your electives bucket. So it'll still be part of the 36, but it'll be counted from the electives. The internship is not on top of the 36. Now, if you're admitted to the program, you may see that based on whether you need a calculus class, there might be a course that is added to you as a program prereq, but it will be specified on your admit letter. That course is 3 credits, won't count towards the 36. And there's another prereq for the program, a 1 credit professional development course that is also not part of the 36 credit. Now that can be waived off, the professional development, but mostly if you've worked in the US or you've done an internship or you've taken an MBA class somewhere, I mean, there is a list of items that you can look at. But if you've never worked in the US, then you cannot get a waiver and you'll have to take that class in the first semester. Do TAs in flex program get tuition waiver? Well, it's not tuition waiver. It is the ability to pay in-state tuition, which means if you're an out-of-state student, you end up paying in-state tuition. That's like 50% discount right there. Plus, come this fall, your health insurance, which is about $1,340, $1,340 will be covered as a TA. When will the next scholarship list? Well, you know what? There's no straightforward answer to that because our committee meets when technically they meet every 2 or 3 weeks. However, sometimes they want to wait and they won't, like we are right now towards the end of the cycle, another 2 days to go. They will not meet in these 2 days. They will wait until the deadline is up. And then maybe a couple of weeks after that, they will roll out any new offers if they have. The scholarship deadline for spring 23 intake is October 1st. Your application as well as your GRE or GMAT scores should reach UT Dallas by that date. What is the approximate amount we need to show to get I-21's decision is released? Well, without a scholarship, it is $51,200. With scholarship, it's about $37,000. Okay, so we thank you for putting that link to the webinar. The website says at least one, but it has 3. Can you please detail? So when it says at least one, it talks about one professional. 3 in total, and it could be a former professor, somebody that has seen you work in a certain capacity, academic or professional, but at least one of them should be a professional. And it could have been a person that works with you or worked with you, or it could be just somebody who is in the industry and has seen you in some other capacity. Work. What percent of people get job in Texas compared to other states? Well, Naman, great question. I would say a lot of people get jobs in Texas, and the reason for that is because right now Texas is booming like no other place in the US. Every company, whether it's the East or the West Coast, wants to come down to Texas for a lot of benefits. There's no state tax, big spaces, more value for money. Yeah, to be very honest, no offense to my friends in the East or the West Coast, but high taxes. You might spend $3,000 on a very tiny apartment in California. Those kind of things are there. The cost of living is very high. So companies are moving, and if you follow the news, some of the top companies have moved to Texas in the last few years. And we are in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, which is hustling and bustling with jobs. So honestly, our students don't have really a lot of reasons to go out of Texas, but they go all over the place. So if you feel like going to some particular state or city, of course, there are takers. See, the MSBA program in terms of employability is right on the top. Need it. And I'm not making that statement just as a program director, but the fact that what you're learning in the program in terms of the longevity of how applicable it beats any other program. When we compare ourselves to computer science, let's say, computer science, well, for the first few years, you might be into programming development, you'll do stuff, but at some point of time, you'll have to move into more strategic tactical roles in which you will be required to have some skill set around analytics. People who are starting with that skill set already have an edge. So in terms of the longevity of the career that you have with analytics, it's the longest. And whether you're a fresher or you're a chief executive, you need to know analytics. And that's why we are seeing a lot of decision makers, senior managers, vice presidents, CXOs come down and get degrees in analytics because they need it. They need to know what's going on. Can a person with no work experience get admission? Absolutely, Bhavya. The good question. See, we need people in our classes we want a mixed bag. We want people who have no experience. We want people who have some experience, and we want people who have a lot of experience. We want people who have ITCS experience. We want people who have non-ITCS experience, and that's what really a good team, a good mix looks like. Why I say that is because at the end of the day, everybody brings in some value. I mean, just because you talked about having no experience, to be honest, when you look at internships, the best intern is the one who has no experience because that person is the most trainable person. Not saying that once you have experience, you cannot be trained, but in terms of the time that will be spent, you, you will spend lesser time with the person who has no experience. And there are always pros and cons, but for us, we want all types of personas in our classes, and that's why no experience is not a problem. Gautam, I've added one LOR to my application. What's my situation now? Well, Gautam, if you applied, uh, and if you have a few months ago, because this is a recent change, if you applied a few months ago and you've got an admit, then you can let it be. But if you have not got an admit and they are still waiting for an LOR, and you can look at your to-do, they will indicate if they need more letter of recommendations. Jose, can you please share the presentation? Well, since you have attended, you will receive an email with the link to this webinar. And we also put this on our YouTube channel so that if you just want to go there, even without the email, you can find it.
I'm not 100% sure right now that emails are going out with the recordings. So I will put the link to the JSOM YouTube channel, which has all of our past recordings, and will next week have this recording, but we might not get an email out with the link to the recording.
Okay. Thanks, Ivy. I joined your webinar. I still loved it. Shibam, thank you, Shibam, for that. Yeah, BPA is 3 years. So a 3-year degree is acceptable in the School of Management. We don't need a 4 years. A 3-year degree is good with us. Do we need continuity to be eligible for MS? No, if you have a 3 years degree, absolutely, that's okay. Minimum GPA, now that's a good question. We definitely want a 3.0, but I would not say that, we put our finger on that nothing beyond below a 3.0 might work. Sometimes people are very close to a 3.0, but they have done other things very well. So see, we look at all the applications very holistically, and no one thing can bring your application down. No one thing can make it super good. It cannot be like that, everything in your application was below average and suddenly you have a 330 on your GRE. And yes, that should be the reason why we should give you an admit. No, a high GRE can be rejected. A low GRE or GMAT can be accepted as well. So we look at it holistically. To be very honest, here is the thing. While making the decision, we ask ourselves a question based on the facts, and that's your application, based on the facts that are there. And we have looked at all the components. If we put the student in the program, is the student bound to fail? Because then that's wrong. That is willfully wrong, because we are putting you in and we are setting you up for failure. If you have shown no ways through which you can learn in an environment like this, and we know, the rigors of the program, we want to make sure that there is possibility for you to do well. Now, yes, by hard work, everything can be achieved. But if you have not demonstrated that in the past, then there is a high probability that this may not work out again. And at that point of time, we are setting you up for failure. So we don't want to do that. And that's one of the things that we look into. Financial affidavits. So if you, in fact, let me, the link for I-20, how to receive an I-20, and that should have it. I'm just going to reply to your message here. Okay. Chitra, applying to a scholarship, is the application still considered if GRE scores reasons after? No, they have to reach by May 1st. Is the STEM OPT extension? Yes, because it is STEM designated, you will have an additional 2 years on top of the first year STEM OPT. How is MSBA Flex Data Science track different from? Well, as I said, one of the things is, in the Flex program, there might be more sections, I'd spread out on different times. So again, the number of courses is same, but what is different is might have more options in terms of instructors who are teaching those courses in the Flex program, more sections that are offered as opposed to the cohort program. And you can decide when you want to take those classes. You don't have to really go with the same set of people. That's the benefit of Flex. In my admission letter, it is mentioned I need to take professional and nothing about. Well, if there's nothing about OPRE 6303, you don't have to take it. You just have to take professional development. Shama, is 15 years of education accepted? Will be, yeah, that is absolutely. 3 years bachelor's is accepted. What is the usual batch size for Flex MSBA? Well, again, in the fall, we see about 300 to 400 people come in. Spring is about 150-ish, and then summer is about 20, 30. These are average numbers. But as I said, our big sizes are because of the fact that we have so many different offerings. And by the way, not all 400 sit in the same class. There are different sections. So for example, a very famous first semester course is advanced statistics. And there might be like 8 sections of it to have all of our students. In every section, if it's a core class, you'll see 40 to 60 students. If it's a elective, then anywhere from 20 to 50, maybe. Those are average numbers. Gautam, can we get a visa without original certificates from undergrad, which I'll be receiving in July? Well, you need something to prove that you've completed your program. And if you're asked for those proofs, then you'll have to show it. But there should be some kind of a document that tells the visa officer that you have received some kind of provisional letters from the university which states that you have completed your education. Maha, can I get in-state tuition if I have been living in Texas for a year when the program starts? Well, it's a good question, but it all depends on your residency in terms of your visa status. If you're a US citizen or a US PR or you're on H-1B or H-4, 1 year of residency will qualify you. But if you are a F1 student, then you can stay in Texas for as many number of years as possible. You will never get that Texas residency. So depending on your residency status. Jose, GRE or GMAT will be waived if I already have an MBA from another. Well, good question. If you studied at a AACSB accredited institution, and there are a few others that we have, then with a GPA of at least 3.6, it's an automatic waiver that you'll get. Eduardo, is it possible to select Python as the underlying programming language for courses in the data? And what is the prevalent cloud platform? Another excellent question. Yes, most of our data science related courses are taught using Python. In fact, one of the courses that we're going to introduce in fall 22 is around data modeling, and that is taught using Python as well. The most prevalent cloud platform right now is AWS that we have, but we are exploring adding courses around GCP. We do have some courses that are taught with Azure as well, depending on what it is. It's mostly around warehousing that we use Azure, but GCP is something that we are planning to add in the next 1 year. Again, to be very honest, if you know one of these platforms, the other ones are very straightforward. We are trying to we always add supplemental trainings as well so that our students are exposed to these additional technologies. So you have to remember one thing, being a degree program, our focus is not the tools. Our focus is concepts. Once you know the concepts, it doesn't matter what tool it is, you will be able to work on it. And that's the most important piece that you learn in a degree program. As opposed to, I mean, to be very honest, every tool that's out there, there are very well-designed tutorials available. Then why do we need a degree? We need a degree because those tutorials are for a particular tool and how to go about a certain tool, but not about concepts. That's what you learn in a degree program. And that's what the marquee or the benefit of a degree program is. Does Chitra, does institute receiving official transcript affect getting I-20? No, I mean, you can parallelly send your official transcripts and request your I-20. They are not connected. Nimit, while enrolling for courses, I can't see MAS 6. What is the prerequisite? Any solution for this? Well, Nimit, if there are no open sections right now, just drop an email to JSON GR advising. But as I said, for fall 22, we are still adding courses. We've had the first wave of enrollments. Okay. And at that point of time, whatever we were certain about in terms of courses, we opened it up. So we always add courses and a significant number of courses by the end of July. So we have a lot of time. Don't worry, we'll take care of it. You need MAS 6102 in the first semester, you will get it. Suman, what are the programming languages we need to be thorough to program well? I would say thorough is a recommendation. It's not a need, but R, Python are good ones. When it comes to SQL, any of the languages should be okay if you know one. We also make sure that the classes that you take, on top of it, there are supplemental tutoring sessions. For example, we recently launched a student organization, which is all about peer tutoring the students with things like R, Python, SQL, etc. But if you're good, if you have some grip on R and Python in terms of programming, you should be fine. What is the present pool of average for scholarships? Well, Gopi Krishna, that is something that is privy to the scholarship committee only, because they look at a lot of factors. And by the way, since you asked that question, I would like to also address GRE or GMAT is not the only reason to get a scholarship. GRE and GMAT, it's an important piece, but not the only thing, because contrary to popular belief that if you have a high GRE and rest all is just average, you will just get a scholarship. That's not the case. We look at every possible thing in your profile, but we do look at your GRE or GMAT because that helps us standardize your academic abilities. Say all of you come from very different institutions, and your institutions have different ways of measuring your performance. GRE and GMAT somewhere normalizes that for us. That's why we need it. Eduardo, how does the UTD MSBA faculty and curriculum compare to that of UT Austin? Well, again, apples and oranges. UT Austin, and I would replace UT Austin with any university. Okay, let's put it that way. We have a lot of people who either worked at UT Austin or some of the other big universities before they came to UT Dallas. Here is the thing. Nobody has the breadth that we have. Nobody. For a fact. Nobody teaches you in the kind of depth that we teach you. I mean, our core curriculum, the 6 courses, they're hard, but they give you such a solid foundation that whichever job you get into, you're always ahead of the curve. A lot of institutions that we compete with, MIT, UT Austin, Harvard, Stanford, they rank in the same league because of the name of the institution. That's it. But when it comes to a specific program like MSBA, none of them have the same breadth. Student life, which is an important part of it, the experience in the program, none of them can compete because we invest ourselves heavily in making sure that there is enough happening for you all to have those opportunities. Now, you could decide to be that student who just goes to the class and does nothing else. That's fine with us. Or you could be that student who comes and tells us that 24 hours is too less to do everything every day. So we definitely give a very, very strong competition to anybody. You name the institution. The only place I cannot compete with any of the other institutions, the only place is their age. The ones that are older than us, well, there's no way I can get around it. But we make sure that every other thing is top class. And in fact, students tell us that their peers who are in other institutions, they talk about how they don't get the same opportunities, which is a regular feature for most of our students. Chitra, you said MSBA can be done in 9 months. How many credits will it cover? Well, that'll be 18 credits at max that you can take. And if you don't have any program prereqs like, professional development and all, you can do it in 9 months. But it's not recommended because 6 courses in a semester will leave you no time to do anything else. But if that's your goal, why not? The program fees depends on, Nikhil, this is your question. It depends on the number of credits you take. So in the flex program, as the credits go up, your per credit hour goes down. The other thing is if you have a scholarship or a TA ship, you get in-state tuition if you're an out of state. So I would say, depending on your residency and your uh, number of credits you're taking, etc., it can be anywhere from about 35-ish, 35-ish K to about 62,000 dollars. That's the tuition. That's the range. Living expenses on top of it would be about $600 to $1,000 a month. It's again a lifestyle thing. So depending on your lifestyle, that's what the expense is going to be. Your health insurance is going to be about $1,350 for the spring and the fall semester, and about 533 in summer. Now, the link that CV posted a little while ago about financial planning, I would strongly recommend that you go and watch that, because that talks about exactly how you can calculate the cost and then how do you pay for it. That's important to know. How do you pay? Um, Manther, there is a focus on R, SAS. What about Python? Yes, so most of our data science related courses are developed using Python. And we have a modeling course right now that is being added for fall 22, which is solely based on data modeling, but it is taught using Python. So the focus, see, our course, none of our courses says something using Python. So you might feel that, okay, maybe Python is not used, but our entire data science track, most of our data engineering courses are all about Python. Eduardo, for an applicant with 15 plus years of work experience, do we need 3 letters of recommendation? Irrespective of your experience, you still need 3 letters. Although I have no prior work experience or technical skills for MSB except Python, which all courses would you suggest for? Well, pick up a bit of SQL, do some R. If you have hand on Python, that's good. If you want to add something more, just add another, maybe a data visualization tool, but don't put too much on yourself. If you're good with R, I would strongly recommend do R and Python and make sure that you're confident with that, and that should be a very good start for you. What GPA should we maintain in order to boost our chance for a scholarship in the second year and also to boost our chance of getting a job? Well, again, let me answer the second part first. For a job, yes, you need at least a 3.0 to be in good academic standard. There are not a whole lot of companies that look at your GPA. There might be some that do, because when they get too many applications, well, they have to use some kind of a filter, and that's where the GPA piece comes in. But for you to get a scholarship in the second semester, now if it's an academic scholarship, yes, you'll have to keep it high. And when I say high, 3.9 plus for an academic scholarship, because of the competitiveness of the scholarship. But if you are, there are also other scholarships which are around impact that you're making in the school. And in that, you might have a 3.5, 3.6, but you have done so much around the school that can also help you in getting that scholarship. Sino, does low GRE with good profile be considered for scholarship? Well, we'll have to look for everything. We can't just determine with what we need to know what that low GRE is. If it's very low, then there might not be a good chance. Our average is 310 to 312 for admit, and generally our scholarship GRE goes a little bit over that. What are the things you do after visa approval for summer 22? Well, if you're not, first of all, congratulations on that visa. The second thing you need to do is make sure you are enrolled in classes. And there is actually a checklist for students that you might want to check out, especially for our international students. I'll put that in the chat. And you may want to look at this checklist. This kind of talks about every possible thing that is there. How long will it take to make a decision after submitting all documents? Currently, my application. So if it's in the graduate committee review, you should expect something next week or early the week after. But it takes about, so the official timeline is 4 to 6 weeks, but our team has been turning it around in 2 to 3. Do we apply for, this is Anushka, do we apply for TA position after completion? No, not after the completion. You do that while you're in the first semester. So right in the middle of the first semester, somewhere they will open the portal. They'll send an email to every student and you just apply. Deadline for scholarship for fall 23. So any fall scholarship is May 1st. Any spring scholarship is October 1st. And continuing students only apply in fall. Shantanu, I applied for MSBA Flex Scholarship on 4th, got my admit on 11th, but no update on the scholarship. When can I expect? I have a CGPA. Well, Shantanu, I am not sure how the pool is. This is something that the committee looks into and decides upon. Give them a few days. As I said, they're getting close to the deadline. They might not issue anything right away, but may do a final run a few weeks after May 1st. What is the average GRE score that can assure? Well, there is no score that can assure a scholarship, to be very honest. It can get you a high GRE, for example. Let's pick a high GRE. What's a high GRE? 330. You will be assured that you'll be picked up for a review with a 330, but whether you'll get a scholarship is not. What we have seen is generally are, as I said, the admit and the GRE for the admit is about 310, 312. The averages. Our scholarships are higher than that. Okay, we have kind of come to the end of our session here. I'll just take the last few questions and we'll wrap it up then. I want to be respectful of your time. I have a hold saying you must register with your academic. You're not permitted. How do I move? Well, Kushagri, you will have to send an email to jsomgradvising@utdallas.edu, and that should help. jsomgradvising. Let me put that here, please. Yeah, advising.
I just did.
Oh, okay, thanks. The next question, is age a big factor? No, not at all. I mean, we like people who come with some experience, and because as I said, you're all part of the picture that we want to create here, and that picture needs people with no experience, with some experience, and with a lot of experience. We want people who may have just completed their undergrad degree, or people who are in their early 20s, or people who are in their middle age. I mean, we honestly, all of these things just makes the program richer. So do not worry. And we've had some very successful students, who are in their late 40s, early 50s, and they've done an excellent job in the program. They recently graduated, landed some good jobs as well, and they're now just being a champion of the program. So absolutely, it's not a limit. It's not a factor. Not a factor in a negative way. It's a factor in a good way for us that we have people who are coming, after a long time that they've decided to do a degree. When you say Python is recommended before learning, do you mean Python overall or Python pertaining to data science? Well, here you go. Depending on, here is the thing. We're not computer science. We are not going to teach you just the programming bit of it. What a business analytics student learns is, yes, there is the tech component to it, but we help you in understanding the application. And I would say that if you have basics of Python that you can write a program, that should be a good starter. Now, when you start talking about data science, you get into vectors, matrices, and all those kind of things. If you have time to look into that, absolutely do that. But at least have basics of Python programming. You could write a program in Python, do things like file retrieval, etc. Integration is another piece. How do you connect two programs together? Two applications together, or if you have to make an API call and stuff, those kind of things. If you can just get your hands dirty in it and have that basic understanding of things, that should be enough. And you can just take a Udemy course or go to Coursera and do a lot of those courses yourself. Okay, we're kind of at the end, the last. Do we need to send our offline official transcripts and mark sheets before registering for classes? No, you can register for classes. So your official uh, transcripts and mark sheets can reach us through mail, or you can just make sure that if you're carrying them yourself, they are attested, they are sealed in an envelope, and they're stamped, and you can just drop them off here. So Atika, can I apply for scholarship without GRE? You cannot. We need a GRE or GMAT score. Okay, well, we kind of got to the end there. Again, thank you so much for joining us, folks. Very glad for all the questions and the fact that you're considering us. Uh, Something that I want to tell you, not as a program director, but as an alum of the department, that coming to UTD was one of my best decisions as a student, because the kind of things I got exposed to at UTD, I was glad that I came to UTD and did not go to the other places that I had offers from. Because sometimes what happens is, we kind of we we just go and we go by some institution's name and not just see what it offers us. And UT Dallas, I mean, recently we had our rankings as a business school issued. We were 26 overall in the nation. But when I look at the 25, those 25 above us are cream of the cream institutions, and we are in that league. We are in a league of top institutions, top MBA schools around the world. And being the largest program in the United States, with the kind of things that we have in the program, I mean, it's a matter of pride for us. So you're going to be part of something big, something huge, and something which is really respected by the industry as well. We look forward to your applications. We look forward to your questions. I posted the link to the Telegram channel before, but do join us on that. And there's a lot of discussion that happens there as well, because we want to make sure your questions are answered quickly. I have put the link again. Uh, we do this every 2 weeks, but don't wait for 2 weeks. Send us your questions on the email and we'll be happy to answer them. But until we see you next time, be safe, enjoy, and we'll see you again.